Heck,
What up? What up?
okay. So we're live. Welcome back to Prison Yard TV. I was running a little bit late. I had to rush home in this traffic. I had this interview planned for a week or a few days now. And I have a special guest today. Um, I wanted to touch bases earlier before we got on live, but I see we didn't have enough time. So I always try to be authentic and organic, Hector. And I think it's a little bit better instead of having interviews
Right.
to just come off the top of the head. And that's what we're doing here. So these nuts, what's up, homie? I see you. I didn't have time to post this earlier, although I did do a follow-up and posted this interview yesterday, which I like to do a week ahead of time. But I've got so many questions, but first I want you to introduce yourself, tell my viewers who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about your background, Hector.
Cool. What up, everybody? I'm Hector Bravo. My background is I joined the Army at 17 years old, fought in Iraq, and then when I came back from Iraq, I joined the California Department of Corrections as an officer in the year 2006, and started my career at Centinela State Prison before I ended up promoting to sergeant, promoting to lieutenant over at Donovan, RJD.
That must have been a circus.
Yeah, the upside down world, man.
We'll touch on that a little bit later. So you started at Centinela in 2006, you say?
Yeah, when I hit the prison, it was 2007.
2007, Centinela. I've never been to Centinela. Like Centinela, Calipat, I never been. I started out doing all my time. As my viewers know, I did a lot of prison time, and it's nothing to be proud of. My channel, Hector, I don't know if you watched a few videos, but my channel is geared more toward mistakes as me, keep them out of trouble. I got a couple podcasts going right now, not just this YouTube channel, but I want to ask you some questions from. I want my viewers to get I want them to see prison through your side, through your eyes. I did have someone else that worked for the department on here before, but they wasn't a correction officer or lieutenant. You became lieutenant, by the way.
Yes.
So you moved on up through the ranks because I know you got to hit sergeant first. I think after 4 years or 6 years?
You could hit you really only have to do 2 years at each rank. So 2 years as officer to be able to promote, 2 years as sergeant to be able to promote. That's if the timing of the test comes out perfectly.
That's something that I didn't know. Is that something you agree with? That's man, you only got to be working for the department as a correction officer for 2 years before you become a sergeant?
Before you're eligible to become a sergeant, if that test comes out, yeah, that's a kind of a downfall because you do have these young kids promoting that don't know how to be an officer.
And then how many years after you become a sergeant do you have to be a sergeant to be eligible to become a lieutenant? So
2.
4 years you can become a lieutenant.
Yeah, man. There's actually a story where a captain made captain in 9 years, and it was a nightmare what that guy did. So it's not a good idea.
Yeah. So how many years was you working as a correction officer before you promoted to sergeant?
8 years.
See, that's more. And do you recommend these new people that start working for the department at least have a certain amount of time in before they do promote?
My advice shifted to the youngsters. My advice shifted. It used to be, hey, get some time and experience under your belt. And then it shifted to, hey, you might as well just promote while you're young, while you can. You'll just understand that when you promote, you're not going to know everything. You're not going to know much. So ask questions.
Yeah. I got some difficult questions for you. Well, they're probably not too difficult for you, but these are questions. So a few of my viewers, I got another podcast and I got on there the other day with Tony the Tiger Lopez. It's actually his podcast, but I'm just hosting it with him. But I told people that you were coming on here, and also Sal Lopez, which he worked for the department for 30 something years. That's his brother. He started out as a CO and he made it all the way to counselor, and then he finally retired. But they wanted me to ask him some of these questions that I'm gonna ask you, but unfortunately he's not on here today. You are. He don't live far from me, so it's easy for me to go to his house and get these answers. But I would like to ask you. Um, so we're gonna go with Calipat. So did the COs that you worked with really care about convicts that have special needs like wheelchairs and mental health issues? Did you guys like treat them uh equivalent to like a convict like me that don't have no kind of issues or anything? Was there something? Did you guys like give them leniency, or did you guys punk them, or did you guys really know they had mental health issues and seek them out?
So I was at Centinela, not Calipat. They're right next to each other though.
Uh-huh.
But there was none of that at there. There was none of that. There was nobody in wheelchairs. I didn't see a wheelchair in prison till I got to RJD.
Oh
Um,
yeah, you're correct.
there was no psych meds, right? Because the inmate population amongst themselves, they
We don't
they
allow that.
correct. They don't allow it. So the thing that I did see was like a couple colostomy bags. Yeah, colostomy bags. Dudes got shot and they
Yeah.
had a um and at one time I was working visiting and I had a rapport. I use the word inmate. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but that's just what I use. But convict, this dude did carry himself like a convict on the level 4, and he did have a colostomy bag. And I would always afford him the opportunity to go behind by himself, privacy from the rest, so he can have that privacy when he was
Oh, to strip them out.
strip him out of visiting.
Yeah, that's good
Uh,
shit.
um,
Yeah, I forgot they don't have them in regular prison. Like I was in Donovan for it was a change for me because I went from New Folsom 180 yard to Donovan, and when I got there, it was terrible. I mean, there was a lot of opportunities for us, but I knew I wasn't gonna last long there because the first day I was there, man, I seen this crip from I don't know where he was from, but he got in the CO's face in my building and like basically was face to face with them, and they was arguing, and the CO told him, let's go in the rotunda. And they went in the rotunda and chunked them. And I was like, what the fuck? I thought it was a joke to me. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be at this institution that long if these dudes in here are talking to COs like that, because you know I had an E number, so I go way back, and we were schooled to stay out of your guys' way, not disrespect you guys, because if we did that or someone in our car did that, it brought heat to us, and that throws a monkey wrench into what people like me were trying to do, puts heat on everybody, puts heat on the whole building. So I knew I wasn't going to last there long, man. But what I did notice, I think I was on A yard. It was a level 3 GP yard, and I think 2 of the buildings were EOP. And EOP, we call it extremely out of pocket, but it's more of a mental health. It's past triple CMS, I think, and they're JCATs. They're really, some of them, a lot of them are just playing the system because they can't go nowhere else. But when I got there and seen these dudes doing this, man, it was like there's no way I'm gonna let. And then when you go approach their car, their people, and tell them, man, this dude's doing this, it's none of my business. But we have to address it. You know what I mean? Did that ever happen to you?
what in particular? All the wild
Did
stuff?
did inmates like? Okay, you say you came from Calipat to Donovan, so that had to have been a drastic change for you as it was for me.
Oh, it was
Um,
horrible. It was horrible.
did you see the 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 disrespect level of what I'm talking about there?
Absolutely, right off the bat, man. Absolutely. It was bizarre. It was extreme. It was out of pocket, like you said. It was not cool. And like you said, you weren't gonna last. I didn't feel well, shit, I didn't last. I resigned, but I'm like, I'm gonna get in trouble here just because ain't nobody gonna get in my face like this, dude. And this is not me trying to sound like a big, badass by any means. That's
Just
not what
as a man.
Yeah, I mean, that would never happen anywhere else. You know what I mean? You would put the whole
call Josiah for me right now and tell him I'm doing this. He's blowing me up. Okay.
You know what I mean? It would crack off. It would crack off before any of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so it had to have been I don't know how you dealt with that. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm petty or anything, but where I come from, see, I'm gonna tell you something. That is the first, let me make sure. I think that's the first down south prison I went to, and it was a level 3. So I had 2 changes. I was going down south for the first time, and I was going to a level 3. And I heard about level 3s and I heard about down south prisons, but when I walked into that, it was like, is this how down south people get down? But it wasn't even that. It was the institution, and I came to the conclusion that it had to have been administration that was letting this go on. It was a whole nother ball game as far as administration for me. Even when it came to 115s and hearings and shit, okay, let me tell you this. I've never been found not guilty of a 115 until I got to Donovan. It was crazy. I couldn't believe that he found me not guilty. And it was a fist fight in front of the program office, and I got hit 8 times with what are them called? The things?
The batons?
And I got shot in the head with the block gun and took 3 cans of spray, right? We both got found not guilty. And it was in front of the program office, bro. So the reason why, I didn't want to really get into this, but the reason why they found me not guilty, and this they should change there. So I was in a GP building, I believe building 5, and the EOP buildings were out on the yard. So I get called for a package. So I'm sitting out there in front of the program office waiting for him to call me for a package. And I seen a guy that I knew. I seen him before. And of course, I guess he knew me. He came up to me. I'm sitting down, which I shouldn't have been. I was sitting down on my ass against the fence, and he came and put his hand on the fence, and we're talking, and he just flighted me. He flighted me, or something happened in another prison years before or something. And I got up and we got out, and it was probably one of my longest fights I had in the department because we both refused to get down. We were sprayed up. I got 3 broken ribs. I was jacked up. They took me. They decontaminated me. They sent me back to my cell, not the hole, and sent me to the nurse, of course, sent him to the nurse. And I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, they took us in front of the lieutenant, and they found us not guilty. And the reason, and I was basically going in there to plead guilty. That's what I always do. But the reason is because they shouldn't have let me out on the EOP yard to get my package with EOPs and I'm GP. That was their reason. And then I was fine with it. But it's like walking into something like that, it was just, I still think, how did I make it through that whole situation, bro? It was crazy. So I got a question for you. Being a lieutenant, did you ever know an inmate was not guilty of a 115 and find them guilty anyways because of protocol, like one of your buddies wrote them up, or was you straight across the board?
Straight across the board.
Straight across the board. I without asking you that, I knew the answer to that. I just wanted my viewers to get a sense of your duties in there. You know, a lot of people, especially nowadays, these kids that go in there, they're taught growing up being in gangs, cops are your enemies, no matter what. And us that are older, we don't teach youngsters coming in prison that protocol with us. We teach respect. But I knew that about you already because I watched your videos. So did you ever, you as a lieutenant, so you heard plenty of 115s, right?
I did, man. I'm being sued over one right now. But yeah.
Over a 115?
Yep.
You got a lawsuit?
Yeah, more than one right now. Yeah, it's just a part of the beast, part of the business, and it's unfortunate. That one, the inmate was in possession of a cell phone in
Uh-huh.
his typewriter, and he made up something that we planted the cell phone that we were all in cahoots. We were all in cahoots from the top to the bottom, and this individual had like a B like Bravo number or a C number. So I'm like, man, what happened to you, old man? Like what?
Wait, wait. He was in possession of contraband. You
Yeah,
guys found it. Probably one of your staff found it, and
yeah,
you heard the 115. So that included you in the lawsuit, right?
correct, absolutely. So yeah, but
That's
no, I
crazy.
was fair across the board. Those RVR hearings, those 115s hearings. If it was blatant that they did not do it, or other circumstances, yeah, I factored that all in.
See, that's tight. That's. I hope my viewers are listening to this. Do you guys treat female staff differently than men?
Yes and no. Yes and no. There's some female staff that are with the business. You'll see them shoulder to shoulder with you, and then there's the other female staff that do what they do, and it's kind of like normal program. They get looked out after a lot. Uh, you know, hooked up in
Just
good
be,
jobs.
yeah. Um, I, there's a reason in why I asked you that question. I'll talk to you about it offline. But I had an experience with a female staff that I knew from the street, and we talked a lot. Not blankly talk like through the cell door or anything, but she would take me on, like if we was on lockdown, she would walk me to medical and stuff. And she told me that she was about to resign like you did because she was being treated unfairly by her lieutenant. And I think she had 6 years in at the time. And she really didn't get into detail, but I wanted to ask you that because, you know, I ran across some cool male COs, some cool female COs, and it's like, for us, it's a known fact for convicts not to disrespect a female staff or really put her on Front Street because you guys have her back. If she's worthy of you guys having her back, you guys will go beyond to have a female's back. And I think a lot of kids that go in prison right now, they think of cops as one thing, female, male, and it shouldn't be like that. But if you disrespect a female on the street in front of me, I'm gonna get off on you.
Right.
So it's and I can't do that in prison because you know what time it is. I can't really back up a female staff in prison because of who I am in there. I would probably get stabbed. You know what I
Right.
mean? But it used to irk the shit out of me when I see guys call female staff bitches or throw something at them, and it was like crazy to me to see that. Obviously, they don't have a mom or a sister, bro, because that
Well,
that shit used to really bother me a lot.
that was
Um,
Donovan. That's how Donovan got down. Like you said, very disrespectful. You could do that at Centinela or anywhere else, even whistling, catcalling. That's not going to be a good situation for
so
whoever
you seen
catcalled.
that? You seen men like blankly catcall a woman and call her, try
I
to
don't
get
want
at
to.
her?
I don't want to say. Okay, so when I did see it, right? Because yeah, I got to be smart too. I can't just be going off on people or snatching dudes up. But it was like
Yeah.
an ad seg at Donovan.
Uh-huh.
A psychiatrist comes in and they were just yelling through the door like, damn, bring your fat ass over here. But that's kind of like a cell warrior. That's kind of like a cell. Like, I'm not gonna go over there and open that's ad said you can't be opening doors. But they
Hey, so you worked in ad seg in Donovan, huh?
a couple times I did. I didn't like it. It was not a regular ad sig.
That had to have been the most miserable job. I've never been to ad seg in Donovan, but I've
Oh,
been to. I could imagine
it's like a loony bin.
how many S and Y cats in that. See, what a lot of people don't understand, S and Y, they have no morals or no rules. They could do basically whatever. They don't have to look up to nobody. They don't have to answer to nobody. And fortunately enough for me, I retired my number and I never went S and Y. I never even thought about it. And it was like, man, some of these kids come in at 18, 20 years old, and they don't even give themselves a chance to go to a main line. They go straight to S and Y because they heard something or they did something to someone on the street. They were scared. And it's like, it's crazy to me how some of these kids go over there and then they're talking through the doors, yelling. I've been in Aztecs before, in the shoe before, where S and Y cats are like, if you could get your hands on them, I would probably be in there for the rest of my life, bro.
Yeah.
It was crazy to me. Hey, so I'm going to talk about Centinela. Who, obviously, Centinela's down south. You wasn't around. You didn't work around too many Northerners, huh?
Zero Northerners.
Not even at Donovan, huh?
Not necessarily. No.
Not no GP Northerners, in other words.
Never.
Okay, so I'm still going to ask this question because take the Northerners out of this faction. Who would you say was the most dangerous group in prison that you worked besides the Southerners? Because we know they come in, they're at the top.
Besides the Southerners?
Them, yeah.
I'm going to say the whites because of the weapons that they made. The whites made the best weapons that I've ever seen, by far.
And they use them on green or blue fast, huh?
Well, any race will use it on a green, but yeah.
But whites have another dynamic because I think they're the most shallowest. Their cars aren't that big, and they really do make a statement when they put their mind to something. And I answered that question for someone on my channel, and I agree fully with you. I have a different opinion about Southerners and Northerners because I've been on the yard with both of them actually, and fortunately when I left, they was just talking about end of hostilities when I left, right?
Yeah.
And I knew what was going to happen. I knew the whole plan because I was in the shoe with some upper up guys, you know what I mean? And I knew what their plan was, and it's actually happening right now. Southerners and Northerners are really rocking together right now. And it's scary. It's scary for me being a Crip, and it's scary for staff because when you don't have conflict between them two factions and they get together, it's like they don't have each other to stab no more, so they're looking for something. And when they find something to target, I feel sorry for all the blacks in prison. If something were to happen serious enough for the blacks and Mexicans to get into it, the blacks have no chance. And I know I'm going to get a lot of comments about this, but it's a fact, and I'm saying that from experience. There's going to be so much division between Crips and Bloods and Coombs and Jama, and it's just going to be ugly in there, man. But did you have any experiences with Southerners, like, let's say, did you ever get into it personally with any Southerners?
Yeah. But
you did?
But real quick to talk about like the Southerners and the Northerners, aligning together. Yes, at current times they are doing that, right? But I know, and just as well, it's not going to take much, or it's probably only going to take one instant for something to blow up. And then as soon as it blows up, we're back to square one or even worse.
Yeah, that's correct. And I spoke about this in detail, right? However, there's a money faction involved in this, right? And from I stay in touch with a lot of people still from prison, or people that just got out, I should say. A couple that are still in there, but we're going to talk about it. I didn't want to really bring up the MA and the NF, but I know a lot of people from both of them factions personally, and my understanding is that they're like as of one right now, and it will only take a little something to divide them again, but I don't think that's going to happen no time soon because of how much money's involved right now. And me being on this side, I know you could probably imagine, I'm sure you've caught people doing whatever, but there's hundreds of thousands of dollars being made. And when that kind of money's involved and someone's in prison for the rest of their life, they're trying to keep it as peaceful as possible.
Right. But
And
I was in for 16 years. Something I seen with the money, and it's kind of like the United States. You start focusing on the money, you start focusing on the business, the whole power and respect goes down. I've seen more things through over the years, things that they would have sparked a riot, just overlooked or let go just because they wanted to make more money.
yeah,
That is what do you call that? That is lessening. Prison thrives on violence. Whoever is the most violent, whoever is the top dog, the predator. But if you're constantly letting things slide, you're gonna lose that facade. You're gonna lose that aura about you.
that I never really looked at it like that, but that's correct because you will lose respect by letting things slide.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of leeway when you're on a level 4 180 yard at all. There's no leeway whatsoever. when you mess up, you could bet your career either is going to be over with or you're going to leave with holes in your body. And that's a correct statement. So do you regret promoting and going to Donovan?
Dude, no, I don't. I don't regret it. I don't regret it because even though it got wild, it everything that's bad that has happened in my life has made me who I am today. Every lesson in life I've learned the hard way. Just a stubborn dude, just I got to go through it. And that was just my story, the way it's written.
Do you think you would still be working for the department if you wouldn't have promoted?
A lot of people ask me that, but I was living in San Diego and driving 2 hours to Centinela and driving 2 hours back. I did that for 8 years, and that got old. So there was never the best of every single world because I didn't want to live in the Imperial Valley where I'm originally from, where Calapan and Centinela are, because it's a small town mentality. I get in trouble when I'm there, nothing to do, and I had already made it to San Diego.
Man, your YouTube channel. Let's talk about your YouTube channel. You started about the same time as me, and I watched you. And I've got help from your channel actually, and a lot of people I know call me about your channel and ask me all the time, did you see this episode? Did you see this episode?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm gonna go check it out. But this is a career move.
Yes.
Like you could support your family and some off of YouTube, and if you keep it authentic. A lot of people on here want to make themselves look greater than they are, and they don't last long. But you're very authentic and open, and I love that about your channel, man. And I always recommend people to go watch your channel.
Thank you.
Do you have any surprise? Wait, let me ask you this: Have you started getting members to your channel? Like, do you have the join button on there yet?
Oh, I haven't started that up. But I've been looking at that.
Yeah. I suggest that very much that you let members, I think it's $3.99, $9.99, $24.99, or $49.99. They could become a member. And there's so many perks when people become members because they get exclusive stuff. You know how me and you there's rules and regulations to YouTube. And we can't say everything we want to say sometimes. But you can, if you have membership, you could put out stuff that you normally can't put out on YouTube. And I just figured that out. And it helped your channel a lot. It not just helps you financially, but it helps you like be more authentic and organic because you can say what you want when you have members coming in. It's it's like a private show.
Cool. Yeah, I'll look into that, dude.
Yeah, it's really, whoever figured that out for YouTube, I commend them on. What do we have to look forward to coming up?
I did another interview. I did 2 interviews today. This will be the third one. Just networking, giving back, spreading the truth, spreading the message, growing
Has
with
has Chad Marks got a hold of you yet?
Chad Marks. I don't think so. Where's what
Okay, so
does he have a channel?
yeah, he's gonna get a hold. Remember, I told you. You told me to give him your number.
Yeah.
He's out of New York. He's a white guy. He got a huge channel. It's called Blood on the Razor Wire.
Oh yeah, blood on the razor wire. I don't think the dude, he hasn't gotten back to me.
He's going to. He's going
Okay,
to.
appreciate that.
He when he says he's gonna do something, he does it,
Cool.
and it'll help your channel grow. Like you got 10,000. How many followers you got now?
10,700.
You'll get 5,000 just getting on his channel, bro.
Wow.
I got monetized in 38 days, I think, because I got on his channel.
Wow.
And is his channel. Have you seen his channel?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So he's a good cat, man. And I did tell him about you, and he was enthused to have you on his channel. He's had a few COs already, ex-federal agents on his show. And he's looking for someone from California CO to be on there. And I told him about you. He's like, he got a channel? He didn't believe it. And I'm like, well, he resigned.
Yeah, I had to resign.
Yeah. So be looking for that. I'm gonna call him when we get off the phone and make sure he gives you a call.
Cool.
So Hector, is your schedule changed at all? And the reason why I'm asking that is because what did you work? First watch, second watch, or third watch?
Bro, like 90%, 95% of my career I was on third watch, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m.
So third watch. That's where when us as convicts, we put all our stuff up.
Yeah.
When second watch leaves, we put everything up until first watch comes on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so your schedule was you probably slept 10, 11 o'clock. Has your schedule changed at all?
Believe it or not, man, my schedule has been consistent, waking up at like 2:30 in the morning for like the last 10 plus years. I've been on that program,
Yeah.
that's something I learned from the inmate population, just having that routine, consistency. While in there, I picked a lot of individuals' brains, dudes that were in the shoe for 20 years, 30 years, and I asked them, what kept you from going crazy? What kept you from losing your mind? And they said routine. Every single day was the same. And
and once you get out of that routine is when your mind starts fogging up.
Yeah, so my routine's pretty straight, but like these interviews and stuff like this, man, I love it because it's busy, but it's a good kind of busy, and I have that personality where I got to be doing something
constantly, huh?
Yeah.
And it's rewarding because on the 21st to the 26th, when you see that hit your bank account, you're like, okay.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. Like, I love helping people.
And I'm sure it's constantly growing. Yeah, me and you, we got something in common. I've been a giver all my life, bro. I've been a dope man. I used to sell dope from the age 15 until the last time I went to prison. And it's like constantly looking over your shoulder, seeing who's in your rearview mirror. Now, my life is I didn't know my life could be this peaceful.
It's good, huh?
It's like I don't have to worry about my door getting kicked in, being robbed, or going to jail. It's like when I get pulled over now, hi, officer, I hand him my license. I ain't tripping. I ain't sweating. And it's like if I would have learned what I know right now at 54 when I was at 20, I would be a multi-billionaire right now legally.
Well, I got 12 years of sobriety, man. I used to hit it extremely hard, get in trouble. So I know what you mean about not looking over your shoulder, not being paranoid when the phone rings, people knocking
the bottle,
on the door.
The bottle?
Yeah, I quit drinking. Yeah, the bottle. 12 years.
So you've been sober for 12?
Yeah.
I've been sober for 9.
Cool.
I think my soberness came from I used to drink like you. My soberness came from I got renal cell cancer, kidney cancer from drinking, and they took my left kidney out. And I always been a drinker since I was young. And when they did that, I was like, the doctor told me you can live with one kidney, but if you continue drinking, you're going to lose it, and eventually you're going to die. So now, once in a very great while, I'll drink a glass of wine, but it is so different being sober and legal, man. It's like it's a breath of fresh air that I don't gotta get woken up and have to go to chow, and you know what I mean? It's like
Yep.
crazy out here. This is
Yep.
the longest I've ever been out since I was 15. I've been out 5 years last week,
Congrats,
and
man. Congrats.
it's I don't know why I didn't learn this when I was younger, man. It's like I thrived on gang banging and money, and it's crazy why you can't take it with you. You know what I mean? Make $300,000-400,000 and go do 10 years in prison. When you come home, you're broken. You got to do it all over again.
So
It's
it's crazy that you mentioned that, because being a lieutenant in there, I saw a lot of individuals like yourself that were, hardcore into the gangs, grew up, got wiser, changed their lives around, made the right changes, and then bounced. It got to the point, man, seriously, where the convicts were acting more ethical than my own superiors and my own managers, man. And I couldn't stomach it. I couldn't stomach it, and I couldn't understand it. I couldn't wrap my head around it, man. Because all the backstabbing they were doing and the grimy stuff they were doing.
You're talking about staff.
My staff members, my bosses, yes, like it was wild. It was
Was
wild.
it was it always the people above you, or was it some below you too?
That's another thing, man. This is why I try to preach on my channel is like, hey, every individual is their own, and I cannot stomach the people that do not operate by that code. A code is a code of honor, code of ethics, and people will straight be making stuff up, just wild, selling their soul for a promotion, literally. Um, Grimy stuff, making stuff up about another person just so they can get a promotion. I'm like, like you said, you're not gonna be able to take that promotion when you die or when you leave this job. You're gonna be a piece of crap your whole life. People are gonna remember you.
And let me ask you this: being that you got a lot of morals to you, I can tell you've been in the service, so I know what that comes along with that. So, being that you was in the service and you was working with the department and you seen this, was you ever targeted?
Oh man, I got a list of write-ups like this. But I was very good. I was very good at what I did. Like I used tactics, I used strategy. Everything's documented. But that's why I got fed up, because I could never win. It was like a game of chess. I beat them all the time, but they would cheat and they would just slam the chessboard on my head. Like and that's what it felt like. And
Damn.
I
So
didn't like it.
you basically went through what we go through, and you're that's crazy to me.
And I wasn't even the type to be like a whistleblower, like a legal, like a litigation. I'm not even a political type of guy. I'm just a straight up dude, and that was never my style or my tactics. To have to write stuff down, like but I knew that I had to beat them at their own game. Like they're scandalous. They're scandalous. They're liars. Liars.
So did you ever deal with Sacramento?
Yeah, well, I was a public information officer, the right-hand man for the lieutenant, for the warden. And
Yeah.
sitting in that chair, that hot seat, I saw a lot. I saw how high the corruption went. They were backing it. They were backing it all the way from the top, and I was disgusted. I was disgusted.
Yeah,
Um,
I got a family member that works in Sacramento, and she I never talk like this with her, but I hear her tell other people in my family that, and she's been from the department she worked for the department for a long time, and she's just so
yeah.
fed up. And I'm like, what? And she made it to warden, and now she's in
Ooh,
Sacramento, and I'm like, I never talked to her about prison. It's just
yeah.
unethical to me to talk. And she's like a real close family member. But I hear the stuff you say on your channel, and then I listen to her sometimes, and it's like, us on this side, we never knew. We thought you guys were a tight knit cult, really. Like you guys were like this is what I pictured you guys. You guys go to work. When you guys leave work, you all go to a bar, you all kick it, and you guys talk about us or you guys talk about women. But there's a division with you guys.
So all right, let's say the age group, from the age you got to be 21 to apply. Let's say from 21 to 26, right? You're not married at that time. The fellas are gonna go out to the bar, they're gonna go to the club, they're gonna get drunk, but they're chasing tail, they're chasing tail, they're popping bottles, they're making money they never made before. But
Yeah.
like, hey, the honeymoon phase goes goes over real fast, man. But the way you mentioned it just kind of sounds like a fake married couple that always posting happy pictures on the social media, and then at home it's cat and dogs. Like,
Yeah.
it's like that. That was never my goal to go show, hey, look at our dirt. I'm just being transparent. Like, hey, we're real human beings, man.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I always thought you guys had like a tight knit, all COs, and what I noticed though was like from my point of view, looking in, I noticed that like sergeants and lieutenants, they kind of like had a little bit of conflict, but they was always closer than COs and lieutenants were. Like COs and COs would basically kick it together. You know what I mean? I heard COs just talking so much shit about their bosses before. I'm like, in front of us, it was like crazy to me, because we don't do that. And it's like, is this ethical? And then, man, it would, when I was at Folsom, it was a lot of division, like you probably seen at Donovan. And I seen them like, there was actually two COs that got down in the parking lot. They fought each other, and it spread like wildfires. And then next thing you know, one of them never came back. And I'm like, damn, they got problems like we got problems.
Well, they fight, man. They fight inside. We're not supposed to. You could clearly get fired for that. But I mean, it's cool when nobody tells, when nobody cries.
Yeah.
Then it's just squashed. But no, when shit hits a fan and somebody goes and tells and squeals, and then it just blows up.
It's all bad.
It's all bad for everybody, because they say, "Oh, you were there, you were there, you were there. All you guys are shit can. You didn't say anything."
And they write you guys up for that?
Oh, you can literally get fired for that, man. Like, they're gunning for people. Like, right now, being a CO or a sergeant or a lieutenant, everybody is scared that they're going to get fired. Not even for ethical reasons, unethical reasons. That's the wardens trying to show Sacramento, hey, look at boss, I'm sacrificing the sheep for you. Like, like a sacrifice. It's not cool. It's not cool.
Did you ever have any physical altercations with any of your staff?
I don't think nothing physical, like a couple beefs, but I kind of kept it professional. Nobody really got at me sideways, and if it did, it got addressed like with words. Yeah, because I don't act like a female. I don't like men that act like females, as far as gossiping or rumors or anything like that.
You shut it down.
I addressed the problem.
That's tight. That's tight. You could have been a great convict.
Well, I went to jail for a week, but it's how you conduct yourself, man. Maybe my dad taught me, maybe the military. My dad is a very respectable man, and he was a prison guard himself back in the early 90s, 1993. So,
hey, prison guard. So check this out. You just gave me a thought. There was this CO. His name was Zaragoza, and maybe your dad might have known of this cat or heard of. I'm sure you guys heard of this guy. So he started in Quentin, I think in 83 or 84. In his first week there, he got sliced. First week on the job, right? Now, mind you, this cat is from down south. His family was from down south. He's from San Diego, right? His first week in Quentin, he gets sliced. They air flight him out of there, right? He didn't have enough time on his books to take off because he was injured. So a lot of COs donated their time to him, right? Well, anyway, fast forward 1999, I met him at Solano State Prison. Zaragoza, bro. I remember this dude. And he was so serious about his job. You know how when you guys write Duckus and stuff, you guys write CO Bravo. This guy would write prison guard Zaragoza on his Duckus, right? And if you called him a CO, hey CO, he would flash on you. Wow. Like serious about the title prison guard, right? And for some reason, this cat, and I believe, I never found out, but I believe a Northerner is the one that stabbed him in Quentin, because in Solano, he hated North Indians, and he gave them the blues, bro. He gave them the blues, and I was like, this dude is very disrespectful. But when another CO told me his story, because he had a big ass scar down his neck, told me his story, I'm like, man, I like that dude right there. And one thing about that cat, you could not call him CO Zaragoza, man. I don't care. Not even the cops would call him CO. They'd call him, he would address himself as a prison guard. What's the difference in your eyes between a prison guard and a CO?
I was just about to jump into that, man. So I came in 2006, right? The term is correctional officer, CO, right? Right off the bat, that's it, CO, right? So like at the academy, I've always been a jokester, man. I'm like the class clown type of dude. At the academy, the sergeants there will be like, yeah, and we're not prison guards. We're not prison guards. We're not overpaid babysitters. The Sacramento Bee, the newspaper, they always like to disrespect us by putting prison guard in the title. And I'm like, man, I'm a prison guard. So I just kind of ran with it. That was back in the old days, prison guard. That's the old school thingy. But yeah, I used to be like, yeah, I'm a knuckle dragging prison guard, but no, I never was. I was a CO for sure, correctional officer. But and then when it came time to pick the name on YouTube, I'm like, that prison guard. Typed it in, it stuck. My wife's like, really? You couldn't get more creative? I'm like,
no, that is very catchy, very catchy.
Yeah, look, it makes sense.
You're not gonna go through YouTube and see that nowhere else, but you're the title. You got a lane to yourself, and I told you that before. And man, I can see your channel is gonna last a very long time, bro. And it's like you're one of the more authentic channels. And I know I sound like I'm all on your nuts and shit, but
I appreciate it. I respect. I understand where you're coming from.
It's really I could sit there and watch all your videos, bro, and it's like it don't get boring, and you keep them short to the point. And I run on with mine, and I do some editing now, but I go on and on and on, and you don't do that to get paid. If you want to get paid, you do 15 to 30-minute videos, and then you go to the next one. You can do 2 or 3 a day like that, and you're getting paid for them. But I like hitting it once or twice a week and doing long videos, and people always tell me, don't do that. Don't do that. Just keep them simple, do 2 or 3 a day. And I haven't done that yet. I see what it is I study during the week. I study to what I'm going to talk about and who I'm going to have on here. And it's like, I got so many questions. Look, I haven't even asked you. There's 4 pages of questions for you on here, but I'm not going to do them all today.
It's better to freestyle. I like freestyling.
Yeah, it's more authentic, huh?
Yeah.
And I don't never do pre-interviews. I do it off the top of the head, and people say it's more organic like that. But look, Hector, I only asked 6 people this question, and I've had a lot of viewers on. We're gonna wrap it up in a minute, but I gotta ask you something. How old are you?
38.
38. At 38 years old, what would you tell 13-year-old Hector?
13. I would say, man, slow down. You're trying to be big. You're trying to grow fast. You're trying to be an adult. It's family. Focus on what matters, and stay away from drugs and alcohol, because you're an addict and you're an alcoholic, Hector. It doesn't affect you differently than it affects other people.
Now, one more very important question. We're not going to talk about our personal lives, but say you have a son. I got 2 sons and 2 daughters, but say you have a son and he comes to you when he's 17, 18 years old. Dad, I want to be a correctional officer. I want to work for the department. What's your answer to that?
Man, my dad told me no. Don't do it. Go be a cop. Go be a cop out on the streets. He told me no. And what I gathered from that is like, man, my dad's embarrassed of me. Maybe my dad doesn't want to be associated with me. But no, that's not what it was. It's that environment breeds toxicity, man. It's a toxic environment for green and blue. it's not cool. It's a negative environment. So I'll tell my kid, watch the YouTube videos, man. Go ahead, sit your ass down and watch all these videos. If at the end of everything you want to decide, that's on you, dude. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Okay, one more question before we wrap this up. Do you think that from the day you walked in Department of Corrections until today that it changed your personality and who you are because you work for the department?
Yeah, dude. And I thought I had it. I thought I had it together. I honestly thought I had it together. I thought, hey, Iraq was the worst I've seen. Was the worst carnage, the worst trauma, the and Hector. Like none of this matters. None of this matters in 16 years. None of this matters. The stabbings don't matter. The murders, the blood, the slicings. It doesn't matter, Hector, because you've seen car bombs. You've seen people in pieces, but it did change me. It did change me. And it took my 4-year-old daughter for me to see that it changed me. The way she was behaving around me, kind of standoffish. And I'm like, this isn't normal. Like a child shouldn't behave like this. And by God, man, I thought I had it under control. I thought I had it under control. I thought I was pretty good about that, but apparently it was eating me up.
I think California Department of Corrections, I think it changes us. I think it changes everybody that has the unfortunateness to be involved either as a convict or an inmate or a correction officer or a nurse. I think it's the devil. I think it's here to change us in a bad way. And I try to tell kids all the time, man, if you can do anything to stay out of jail, juvenile hall, that is not the place you want to be. And I suggest that if you do want to become work for corrections or if you want to be a cop, that you don't work for the Department of Corrections. And I'm not saying that because I've been there as an inmate or a convict. I'm saying that because everyone I talk to that's even worked there, they say, man, it changes who they are. It makes them hard inside.
Well, think
It,
about it. I didn't even touch on the topic of like inmates suicides. How many inmate suicides I witnessed or overdoses, drug overdoses. I don't even have a number for you. But I can tell you what they look like. I can tell you what it smells like. I can tell you the descriptions, and that's not normal. I wouldn't say that's normal. Um, but having individuals die, hitting them with Narcan CPR, and then coming back to life, it's like, man, we did that a lot. We did that a lot of times. We brought these dudes back to life. Um,
damn,
and it's just watching life get sucked away, brought back, and then sometimes it just goes away and never comes back. It's like, damn.
it touches your heart, huh?
Something, man, something. Or it calluses your heart. It calluses your heart.
Calluses, yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. I seen it. I come back and I seen a celly hanging from. It's terrible, man. And I'm not saying some people don't deserve to be in prison because we both know there's a lot of people that did things that's supposed to be there and they are paying for it. But um, it's so evil in there, man. And hearing you talk about it on your side, it's just evil all the way around.
Yeah.
It's nothing godly about prison. There's no positivity that comes out of that place, man. I want to thank you for coming on, and we're gonna collab a little more later because I got a lot of stuff in here I want to talk about. But
For
my
sure.
son's waiting. He's gonna take me to go see that new movie Creed 3.
Oh, hell
Um,
yeah.
and I've been looking forward to that. But I appreciate you, and I'm gonna make sure Chad gives you a call before Saturday.
Cool.
You really need to touch bases with him and get on his channel, bro. I'm trying to get your channel where you should have 50,000 subscribers, bro. You will have them, but I'm saying it's growing rapidly, and if I can help you, I'm gonna help you everywhere I can.
Appreciate that. Likewise, man. Likewise, for sure.
I appreciate you. All my viewers, check out his channel, the Prison Guard TV, right?
That prison guard.
That Prison Guard. Go check out his channel. You guys won't. I know you guys are seeing all these ex whatever on here, people that've been to prison, but go check his channel out. It's a whole nother side that you guys don't know about. And it's very enlightening, and you guys will learn something from this guy. Appreciate it, Hector.
Appreciate it, man. Thank
you guys
you.
haven't hit that like
Thank
button,
you.
hit that like button. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, and definitely hit that notification button so you'll know when my next video, because you guys know I'm not consistent. So you got to hit that notification button. I appreciate it. Check you out. Off air.